Welcome to Night Class, folks. Now look, it's been a wild few weeks for USC athletics, but the biggest news out of the program this semester is the resignation of athletic director Lynn Swann, NFL Hall of Famer, ballet enthusiast, and former late-night comfort text buddy of Clay Helton. Swann became USC's athletic director in 2016, and his sudden departure took almost everyone on campus by surprise, including himself. Now, for the past 4 years, he had been under fire for taking USC athletics through some of its most chaotic seasons. Not counting, of course, that time Traveler was investigated for steroid use, which was never settled. They never settled the investigation. We'll never know. So on today's episode, we're going to take a look back at why Lynn Swann left, what happened during his tenure as AD, and what this means for USC moving forward. So first, who is Lynn Swann? Kids in college might not remember, but he was kind of a legend in his own right before he joined USC as athletic director. He's an NFL Hall of Famer, 4-time Super Bowl champion, and 1-time Super Bowl MVP. As a wide receiver at USC, he helped lead the Trojans to an undefeated season in 1972 before graduating with a degree in public relations. He went on to become a commentator for ABC Sports and host his own game show. He's also served under George W. Bush as the chairman of the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports, which apparently was the only office Dick Cheney had nothing to do with. He even tried his hand at politics, running for governor of Pennsylvania in 2006.
We want to create more jobs, cut taxes in a responsible way, property tax reform. I want to make sure that the leadership in Harrisburg understands that we need to move forward. We need to make a change.
My parents could never have thought this was going to be possible.
But you know, this is America, and it happens that way sometimes.
Woo! Lower taxes! Go Steelers! Ed Reynolds a crook! He's a crook! Like Nixon! Man! That PR degree came in handy. So look, as you can see, Lynn Swann had a long resume even before he came back to become our athletic director in 2016. In fact, the only thing that's really missing from his resume was relevant experience. As charming as Lynn Swann is, hiring him was a controversial move by the school. When the time came to hire a new AD, reports say the school was considering people who actually had experience managing athletic programs. Like, there was one at Texas Christian University, home of the Horned Frogs, and your cousin that got married first. But in the end, they went with Lynn Swann. Now, a lot of people say that this was because he's a USC legend. The Trojan family, as we all know, is a strong one, protected by years of LinkedIn endorsements and early morning tailgates. Swann also was allegedly connected to some high-ranking members of the USC administration and was longtime friends with some of USC's most influential donors. So, it's not really a secret how he got the job. Connections! Connections! It was through connections. I'm sorry, connections! So, considering all that, let's take a look at how Swann's 3-year run as USC AD went. First, in 2017, an assistant basketball coach was investigated by the FBI for conspiracy to commit bribery. Then there's the famous admissions scandal, also known as why you're stuck with Trevor in your group project. But his cardinal sin, in the eyes of many fans, was keeping Clay Helton on to coach a losing football team, which gave the school some bad press, but also some wonderful meme content. Now, it's expected for an AD in their first few months to have a shaky start. But for Swann, that kept going. According to the LA Times, last year, the men's basketball, baseball, and football teams all finished their seasons with losing records. That's the third time that's happened in the past century. In fact, the last time we had that kind of record, it was 1983, when MJ was still moonwalking and we didn't have to worry about where. Now, it's worth mentioning that Swann's run wasn't all that bad. During his tenure, USC won 5 national championships, with student-athletes' GPAs and graduation rates reaching all-time highs between 2017 and 2019. But bumping a few GPA points up doesn't outweigh all the federal investigations and the scandals. One of the most revealing moments of Swann's run as AD came in late May of this year. A group of trustees and senior administrators of the school scheduled a meeting in Santa Barbara to discuss the future of the school's leadership, following a tumultuous run by former president Max Nikias. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not a flattering picture of him. Can we get a new one in here, more accurate? Thank you. Now, as senior member of USC's administration, Swann was invited to this meeting, but he chose not to attend. Instead, the LA Times reported that Swann went to a convention in Virginia to sign memorabilia for NFL fans alongside some heavy-hitting guests like Randy Moss, Emmitt Smith, and the guy who played the unmasked version of Jason on Friday the 13th. Full disclaimer, the Patriots thought about signing him, but decided not to. They decided not to. They have a head on their shoulders. Now, ditching a meeting about the future of your school to sign the waxed chest of a few Steelers fans doesn't really sound like something a good AD would do. It does sound like something a former talk show host and once governor hopeful would do, which was exactly the issue with Swann. Like, if you want to be a doctor, you don't learn by being one of the most legendary sick people ever. You learn like how everyone else did, practicing on squirrels in your backyard. When USC hired him, they knew they would be helped by his charisma and name recognition, but that's about it. It's like dating the high school quarterback or casting Noah Centineo in your movie. Now, after 3 years of mounting pressure, he's finally left the program, which brings us back to the present and what his departure means. Lynn Swann's resignation was just a part of the changes that have come with the hiring of USC's newest president. Enter Carol Folt. The only time I've ever seen so much enthusiasm for something on our campus, it's either been for an acai bowl or a mini scooter, so well done, Carol. Well done. As our new president, Carol Folt was ready to make some sweeping changes, which wasn't going to be easy. She had to prove herself after an era of pointy things, record-breaking funding, and pronouncing it Southern California. In the past few weeks, she's hired a new provost, a VP of Student Affairs, Senior VP of Human Resources, Senior VP and Chief Communications Officer, and Senior VP of Administration. It's like she's assembling the Avengers, only this time we're not inviting Hawkeye. Because we know better. We've learned. As part of this entire process, Swann wasn't fired, but he resigned. It's what we like to call the Nixon exit, the best way to fall and somehow stick the landing. This, of course, leaves us with a lot of questions surrounding the future of USC athletics. Will Clay Helton redeem himself? Will people start talking about how the girls' soccer team is actually the most dangerous team in college sports? And how can I get a bite out of this handsome slice of Northern European Wonder Bread? Anyway, the answer to most of those questions, of course, depends on who we hire next. Right now, Swann's replacement is interim AD David Roberts, and a search committee has also been set up consisting of leading USC officials and 2 student athletes. Students can also make suggestions for a new AD by sending a message to the email adsearch@usc.edu, although we recommend the standard method of angrily throwing jars of queso at your TV screen whenever BYU scores a touchdown. But overall, our athletics department is the beating heart of this school, and the last time we picked someone to run it, we picked wrong. What may we embark on this new and mighty frontier? Will study hall be saved? Will the old Trader Joe's line system ever be restored? And can we finally figure out what that smell at Parkside is? Oh, it will be quite the ride, and some of us may not survive. But for all of us here at USC who carry the Trojan name on our resume and LinkedIn bios moving forward, I believe I'm not alone in saying this. Have you thought about Pete Carroll?